Good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Stecy Yghemonos. I'm the director of a European network called Eurocarers, and we represent informal carers at European level. So I have many things I could say. I'll try to be short and get to the point. Well, from our perspective, you won't be surprised to hear that supporting informal carers is social investment. For two main reasons. Social investment is supposed to bring both economic and social returns based on what we heard again this morning, earlier today from the Commission. The cost and the contribution of carers in Europe is huge. 80% of care provided by carers in Europe today. The evaluated cost between 50 and 90% of formal long-term care budgets. And based on the Aging Report 2018, so DG ECFIN, if we were to try and replace informal care by formal care, the share of GDP devoted to long-term care would more than double by 2070. So in terms of the economic argument, there's no way around informal carers. I mean, let's face it. In terms of the social return on investment, we also know that when they're not properly supported, informal carers face a lot of issues in terms of social inclusion, access to the labor market, health issues, mental health, loneliness, depression. The prevalence of mental health issues among non-working carers is 20% higher than among non-carers. So there again, supporting carers makes sense in terms of the social return. So what do we need? A lot of things are going on. Again, we heard that earlier today, and in fairness, a lot of member states and EU regions are slowly trying to address the issue, but it's still a very patchy policy environment. So the pillar of social rights, we believe, brings a lot of hope, and the point made by Platon earlier about the comparison with the discussion around poverty and social exclusion in the mid-90s, and how the EU initiative put a bit of pressure on member states is very interesting. Because I think indeed what we see now, thanks to the pillar, is that it was not mentioned by the Commission, and they left, so I'll take the liberty of mentioning it. We know, for example, the group of ministries, all member states working with the Commission, are now actively discussing the development of comparable indicators in the field of long-term care, for example, which is a major step forward in a recognition that something needs to be done at European level as well. So what we're trying to achieve now is to develop the policy environment, what we call the carer-friendly policy environment required to address the numerous needs of carers. So by including and developing a good definition in the national regional legislation of what a carer actually is, by making sure identification mechanisms are put in place, by ensuring there are assessment mechanisms as well of the needs of carers, and by providing carers with very basic things such as access to information, training, recognition of skills, respite care, and so on. So this is a scoop for you. At the end of November, we'll be launching in the European Parliament a proposal for an EU strategy on carers, which in many ways really builds on existing initiatives by the Commission, by other authorities, to try and bring a comprehensive and multidimensional picture of what it is that needs to be put in place at national regional level to actually support carers actively. I'll close on that note. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thanks for the scoop. Piotr, do you want to